So the way that we came up with the electronic statement architecture was based on our group. We have a group called Business Architecture, and Business Architecture took the essentially what was about 18 different products that were feeding through into different process streams to different technology streams, and solidified that into a single way of creating a client reporting business architecture. And what that did was take the feeds from the core systems and created raw data feeds as opposed to print-ready feeds coming out of these systems, and brought that into a common composition engine. And it was a new engine that we developed with their vendor, Simcore. And what that allows us to do is to take these multiple products and combine the information. So instead of you getting 18 different statements from the bank, then we would be able to combine the information into whatever number of statements you would like to have. It also allows us to customize how that data goes together and then link that with our CRM systems and customize messages back to you, statement messages, marketing messages, and eventually over time will allow you to create whatever kind of statement you want. Through a common service that we developed called Client Preference and Choice. And within that Client Preference and Choice, then you can set up how you want your paper, how you want your electronic, how you want the communication through that, and as I say, eventually how you want the whole thing structured. Well, obviously from coming from 18 different product feeds coming in and trying to go to one single view, then basically we had 18 separate processes as to how the product groups interacted with the IT groups and how the IT groups and the product groups would interact with their vendors. And we've solidified that or amalgamated that into a single process. So we have a single process now for client reporting. So as you want to make changes to your statements and you want to introduce electronic statements, then we have a single process for doing that, which comes through the client reporting from the 18 different groups into the client reporting group, and then single communication back into our partner, Simcore. A lot of where the technology is going is that a lot of the interaction that you have with the internet and with going on to companies' websites is that you're satisfied with that interaction that you get, and that your statement in a lot of cases becomes obsolete to you. And so what we find is, and we track the metrics for this, is that we find that in statements that are not related to invoices per se, and not related invoices that generate interest payments on those, that clients don't tend to look at them. So we actually have a very low read rate of those types of statements. What Bell actually does is Bell only renders the statement at the time that you ask to see it. And so they keep the raw data, and then they actually dynamically render it to you when you ask for it. And then they keep that for 13 months. And so if you ask for it again during the 13 months, then they bring it up to you. Whereas today we render them. 100% of our statements are rendered in full PDF file, and we keep those full files for 7 years. So one of the things that we're looking at right now is to say that we might look at rendering on demand. Very similar to what the phone companies do. I also think the phone companies do a great job of combining marketing and their electronic notification, which you have. If you actually walk through linking from your electronic notification to their website to eventually get to your bill, they will try and show you all the information you're looking for without actually showing you a statement. So they'll ask you, what are you looking for? Are you looking for information on the calls that you made? Are you looking for information on different things? And they'll bring each piece of information up to you as you ask for it. And then only if you say, no, I really want to see my statement, then they'll bring and create a PDF and present it to you, and then they store that for 13 months, I believe it is. There's a lot of convergence happening. So if you look at, obviously we would like clients to come to our websites, but that's not always exactly what the client's preference would be. And so I think you're going to see a convergence between how we set up social networking groups within the bank's container versus public social networking sites. So for example, bill aggregation is something that I think would be something you would see with Facebook. for example. So if you go into Facebook, what you would, in fact, we were having a discussion this morning about this, about the idea of people that live outside the city or older people, their weekly trip to town. And when they go into the town, they're going to do a little shopping, they're going to do a little banking, they're going to do a little that type of thing. And that's a lot of what the social network communities are actually coming into, which is when I go into a social network site, then I want to do multiple things. One of the things I might want to do is pay my bills when I'm there. What I don't want to do is go to 6 different websites individually, sign in 6 different times in order to pay my bills or do those kind of things. So we're trying to create that type of environment within the banks community that we have, but we also recognize that as people are getting more involved with social networking sites, that there's a desire when you're on a social networking site to conduct multiple business transactions when you're out there too. So that's, I think, and I think these things will converge. So banks converging with social networking sites, banks creating their own social networking sites, those types of things.